Hi guys, I'm Shelley and today I thought I would do the second part of my question and answers video. Do you recognise these walls? Can you hear this echo? I haven't been back here or filmed here in about a year and it's really quite weird. So let's get on with the rest of the question. Jane asked, if you could travel to anywhere a book is set in, where would it be and what book is it based on? I would say The Big Woods from Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I think they're in Wisconsin and I cannot remember the time this is set, but I think I have the book around here somewhere. Hang on. I do, here we go. This is set in the pioneering ages of the 19th century. So you have Laura Ingalls Wilder of Little House on the Prairie fame. It's a bit of a fantasy world for me because I love that idea of just pioneering, and I think there's a list of what they do. Yes, wash on Monday, iron on Tuesday, mend on Wednesday, churn on Thursday, clean on Friday, bake on Saturday, that would be my favourite day, and rest on Sunday. Kind of just love to live in the fairy tale version of this. Claire Brown asks, do you like cliffhangers or tidy endings? I like cliffhangers. Life doesn't have tidy endings, so I don't like my books to have tidy endings. I would prefer they ended in the middle of the story. I like to think my characters are real and their lives carry on. I get a bit too attached. Natalie Cole asks, when you're in a reading slump, how do you get out of it? Audible. I start listening to audiobooks because it's the actual, usually it's the physical reading that gets me into a slump. Or I just let myself be in a slump. Sometimes you just don't want to read and I'll have a Netflix fest instead and just watch movies or watch TV shows. Sooner or later there will be a story, there will be a book that I am really excited about that I will go to the library and get or buy. Really shouldn't, but I will buy and I will start reading it, and then that will lead me to the next book and the next book and the next book, and I'll get back in. But I think it's okay to give yourself a reading slump. Don't feel like you have to read. Why would you push yourself to do something if your brain doesn't want to do it? Kerry Paddington, who was the winner of the giveaway that came along with this Q&A, asked, if you could meet any author, which would it be? Non Pratt. She wrote Trouble and Remix, and she's a YA author, and I've fallen in love with her writing. I love her on Twitter. You should follow her on Twitter. I will link her down below. She's obsessed with Kristen Stewart's hair, and so am I. And so we could have a massive long conversation about that. Also Jen Campbell, who has a booktube channel. I will also link her down below. I love Jen. It is my dearest wish in the world to meet her and just to go book shopping with her and just have a good, just bookish chat, everyday chat with her, because God, that woman just knows her books. Perf Joshir asks, I love that name, which author has made the biggest impact on your life? I'm gonna have to say John Green, literally, because The Fault in Our Stars has brought me into booktube land. It brought me onto YouTube. It brought me so many friends and linked me with so many other things that I didn't know were kind of out there. It's just brought so much into my life, as well as the actual story in the book itself. Jenny Nimmo, she wrote the Snow Spider series, which is the children's series. It stuck with me in my heart. It kind of is always there in the back of my head. Kennedy asks, now this is going to be a difficult question to answer because it's favourite books from each genre. So I tried to make a list of every single genre I could think of and my favourite book. So here we go. Dystopian was The Hunger Games. Fantasy, now this one's tricky because I don't know what classes as fantasy, but I've gone The Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I think that's fantasy, it may be dystopian, I'm not sure. Children's book, what did I pick? Oh yeah, Emmeline's Moon by Jenny Nimmo, which is the second in the Snow Spider trilogy. Romance. Gone with The Time Traveller's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger. Now, I see this as a romance. I see this as a relationship between two people. That's what drives this story. YA, Fault in Our Stars, because it has brought so much into my life, but also Remix by Non Pratt, because that book makes me so happy. Poetry. I've just read The Girl is a Half-Worn Thing, and that feels like poetry, but as a poetry book, I'd have to say Cherry Pie by Holly McNish. Classic, to toss up between Jane Eyre and Persuasion. Erotica, The Boss by Abigail Barnett. If you've ever read 50 Shades of Grey and you thought it was rubbish and you want to read the real thing, read The Boss. And it was recommended to me by the girl who plays Matilda. So, a grown-up Matilda told me about an erotica book. She told Twitter, but same difference. I like to think she personally talks to me. Graphic novel, it's a toss-up between V for Vendetta and Blue is the Warmest Colour, which I've just read, and oh, the emotion. Autobiography, Dear Fatty by Dawn French. Makes me smile every time. Crime, I don't think I've ever read a crime book. Fairy tale. I've never read any of the original Grimm's fairy tales. Ava Lavender, that's a fairy tale. And Cinder, which is the retelling of Cinderella, but from a robotic age. Sylvia asked, my top 3 fantasy worlds. Technically Buffy was put into books, so I'm going with Sunnydale and calling it a fantasy world. Pendawi from the Snow Spider. There is a village called Pendawi, and the Snow Spider has magical fantasy elements into it, so I go with that. Again, the world of Ava Lavender, I don't know where it's set. There's no really, I think it's Washington at some point, but again, it's magical and it's mystical, and yeah, I want to live there where just little magical things happen. Angie asks, my favourite OTP or ship where you love both the characters. Oh, I think John and Sylvia asked this as well. My favourite OTP has to be Captain Wentworth and Anne Elliot from Persuasion, because they meet when they're young and they have this kind of big passionate affair, and then they meet when they're older and it turns into an adult relationship, and I love that. I ship Effie and Haymitch from the Hunger Games. Now I know they're in the movie together more than they are in the books, because in the last book I forgot that Effie isn't in it. I just want them together so much. John Koo asks, would you rather a book shock or soothe you? A shock soothes me. Something shocks me off the page and I'm just like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. That completely takes my mind off of my life, and that soothes me. But yeah, I don't read crime novels. Or maybe I should try one. I suppose actually Death Comes to Pemberley is a crime novel by P.D. James. So to answer the previous question, Death Comes to Pemberley is my favourite crime book. Miria, Manal and Natalie asked, favourite book genre you read the most and why? I just like stories. If it's a good story, I'll read it, so I don't really tend to go towards genres. That being said, I have read a lot of YA just because I like the kind of coming of age stories. Yeah, I like to kind of spread it around a bit. Sarah Gibbs asks, who inspires you? Holly McNish. Her language and her writing and the way she looks at the world and questions things. She's a poet. That woman's brain just spouts the most beautiful language. Rebecca Brown from Becky O, she is a YouTuber. Her videos just blow me away, her honesty and her creativity, and I love Rebecca. I recently did a BookTuber shout-out tag, and all of those people inspire me, and so many more that I didn't get to mention. Simlover asked, if you could be any character, who would it be and why? I want to be Nymphadora Tonks. I want to change my hair colour and stand up and be bolshy and fall in love with Lupin. The thing is, I want to be Tonks and I also want to date Tonks. It's very difficult. Favourite book you've ever read? I plead the fifth. And last but very much not least, the last question, Saslia asks, who is your ideal person and why? Well, Tonks. I don't think anybody can have an ideal person, because I think as you grow, you change, and so your ideas of the person you would like to hang out with change. Anybody who can do the Parent Trap handshake. There you go. That is my ideal person. And on that bombshell, that is it. That is all the questions. Thank you everybody for asking me these great questions. You've really made me think and ramble into this camera for quite a long time. So I hope you guys are good. I hope that you liked the answers, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.